Besides being one of the most gifted players on the planet, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is also one of the most physically imposing personalities in the game. He's big, strong, and isn't afraid to pick fights. But guess what? There have been 5 players who weren't afraid to stand up to him, and they even got away with it alive. Let's start off with Belgian striker Romelo Lukaku, who interestingly used to be Zlatan's teammate at Manchester United. Now, Lukaku is usually a calm and collected player who'd rather just do his job on the pitch and head to the showers. But that'll hardly be possible when you're playing against someone like Zlatan. On this fateful day, Lukaku's Inter Milan were up against Zlatan's AC Milan in the Coppa Italia quarter-finals. And if you know anything about the Serie A, then you'd know that these two teams do not like each other. Their matches are usually feisty, and it isn't strange to see players from both teams go at each other every chance they get. Legs clashed, and so did heads, literally. Zlatan and Lukaku had squared off against each other face to face, and for the physically smaller players, it seemed like a fight between two monsters. Zlatan is a big guy, but Lukaku's no average sized man either. The powerful Belgian stands over 6 foot and weighs around 220 pounds. Surely you would expect Zlatan to at least respect Lukaku's size, but he didn't. While the two superstar strikers bashed their heads together, Zlatan didn't hold back his tongue as he threw a barrage of insults at Lukaku with statements like, "Go do your voodoo shit, you little donkey." However, Lukaku didn't back down. In his own words, "Let's go inside, you bitch. We will see." At this point, everyone in the stadium thought that the war of words and of course the clash of heads would eventually lead to blows being thrown, but thankfully both players were restrained by their teammates. Lukaku kept his cool afterwards, but Zlatan still wanted to fight, and this was evident in how he played during the rest of the game. Zlatan became so reckless with his tackles, up to the point the referee had seen enough. The red card was shown, and Zlatan headed down the tunnel for an early bath. As for Lukaku, he continued playing his normal game, and his efforts were rewarded with an equalising goal that sent AC Milan crashing out of the competition. This must have been a very sweet moment for the Belgian, but certainly a bitter pill for Zlatan to swallow. Next on our list is Raphael Van der Vaart, who coincidentally is another ex-teammate Zlatan chose to pick a fight with, except that at this time, they were still teammates at Ajax. For Zlatan, it doesn't matter if you're on the same team or not, because as long as he feels you've crossed his path, then be ready to put your fists up. The moment of madness came when both players left Ajax to perform international duties with their respective countries. Sweden was up against the Netherlands, and for some reason, Zlatan thought the best way to get close to goal was to illegally power his way through his Ajax teammate. His bulldozing move left Van der Vaart with damaged ankle ligament, and that was an injury that would keep him out of action for a while. Now, we can't say for sure if Zlatan did that on purpose, but he did try to apologise to his Ajax teammate over the phone for the injury he had caused him. However, Rafa was having none of it, as he strongly believed that Zlatan intentionally tried to injure him. Fast forward about a week later and both players were back at Ajax. Their manager at the time, Ronald Koeman, knew that there were tensions between the two players, so he called for peace while the entire team was having lunch. But after he turned down another one of Zlatan's apologies, the former Swedish captain lost his cool and snapped. This is what Zlatan said after Van der Vaart refused his apology for the second time. "Next time, I'll break both your legs, and this time it'll be on purpose." Now, Van der Vaart wasn't going to take that, and he stood up ready to punch Zlatan in the face. But once again, their teammates made sure that wasn't going to happen. Zlatan wasn't so lucky when he clashed with the number 3 man on our list, Oguchi Onyewu, who he had once said resembled a heavyweight boxer. No doubt, Onyewu is a really big dude. Just like Lukaku, he stood at over 6 foot and weighed over 200 pounds and was ready to beat the living hell out of Zlatan during their now infamous training ground clash.
He had a very publicized fight with Zlatan Ibrahimovic in 2010. You guys were basically trying to destroy and kill each other.
Yes, they were teammates at AC Milan, and when their fight broke out, it took more than 10 men to keep the mammoths apart. It all started with their preparation for the Milan derby, during which Onyewu caught Zlatan with some hard kicks and tackles. Safe to say, the self-proclaimed soccer god couldn't take it anymore, so he decided to give Onyewu a taste of his own medicine. Zlatan dove in with a career-threatening kick, but Onyewu was quick enough to evade it, and that led to a brutal brawl. There were no holds barred. Even Gennaro Gattuso, who was one of those trying to pull the two men apart, got hit with a vicious punch. Finally, they were separated, and while Onyewu seemed okay, Zlatan's x-rays showed he had suffered multiple fractures in his ribs. He did say Onyewu was built like a heavyweight boxer. At least he should have expected him to throw punches like one. Zlatan later described the fight as crazy and furious. It was truly a matter of life and death. Now, one guy who almost died at the hands or legs of the Swedish legend is Marco Materazzi, and many would say he got what he deserved. Now, we all know how manipulative Materazzi can be. We've seen him provoke Zidane into taking a drastic action that got him sent off in an event as important as the World Cup final. He tried to mess with Zlatan too. Zlatan and Materazzi Materazzi were on opposite sides when Juventus and Inter Milan clashed in 2006, and on this day, the rugged Italian defender sent the Swede home early with a brutal tackle. Fast forward to 2011, and Zlatan, who was now playing for AC Milan, ran into Materazzi again as he was still playing for Inter. And believe me when I say Zlatan hadn't forgot what he had did to him years ago. Zlatan's revenge was well planned. First, he lured Materazzi into giving away a spot kick, which he converted to put Milan 1-0 up in the first half. And in the second half, he knocked out the Italian defender with a vicious taekwondo kick after he tried to lunge at him again. Zlatan's kick sent Materazzi straight to the hospital, but thankfully, he didn't die. One man who surely wouldn't die if Zlatan gave him his best shot is Jaap Stam. The legendary Dutch defender was this close to fighting Zlatan as he closes out our top 5 at number 1. Stam is without a doubt one of the toughest defenders in history, and Zlatan is probably the only striker in the world who wasn't afraid of him. Their moment of madness happened when Zlatan was just a young player at Juventus. At this time, Stam was a veteran at AC Milan. When the two heavyweights met, neither age nor era mattered. The game was almost over, and Milan were leading comfortably by 3-0. As you would imagine, this did not go well with the Juventus players, especially Adrian Mutu, who carelessly threw himself into Alessandro Nesta in the Milan penalty box, and while players from both sides tried to calm the situation, someone forgot to tell them to keep an eye on Zlatan and Jaap Stam, who had already started going at it. Yes, the Swedish giant and the Dutch titan were right in each other's faces, screaming words that can't be broadcast on TV, and getting ready to smack the hell out of each other. Thankfully, their teammates and match officials were present to end the ruckus before it spilled over into a boxing match. AC Milan walked away the victors on the night, and Zlatan never got the chance to get back at Stam. Even if he did, you can bet that the Dutch defender will never back down. So guys, are there any other players you know that have had a spat with Zlatan Ibrahimovic? Be sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.